this is the official Rocky movie tier list. And yes, we don't discriminate. We're including Creed 1, 2, and 3 as well, because they officially count their part of the Rocky universe, the Rockyverse, I guess you call it, right?
Yeah.
Has you heard it be called the Rockyverse at all? Or?
I've heard it called the Rockyverse.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's not too...
Yeah, it's not too out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Rockyverse? The term.
I like it. I love it. I love it.
Okay.
I'd like, I think Rocky 5 came out in, correct me if I'm wrong, was it 90 or was it 91? I think 90.
90.
Yeah, and we never thought that we were going to get another Rocky movie, let alone a whole spin-off series. So it's been pretty incredible.
Yeah.
We thought we died on the hill with Rocky 5. Sadly, for many years. And, I think Balboa came out in 2006, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir. 16 years later.
Yeah, excuse me. Felt a lot longer than 16 years. Felt more like 32. And when that came out and it started getting good reviews, saw it in the theater a few times.
Pleasant surprise.
What a great feeling. Yeah. Yeah, of course. And then when the Creed spinoff, happened, they didn't depart. It was pretty much a direct sequel to Rocky Balboa. Mm-hmm. Adrian's, the restaurant was still intact. I mean, it just, he's still, doing his delivery, his grocery shopping and all that. And that's when he first finds him. So, yeah, I love the Rockyverse.
Definitely a big fan of it too. And I know you're a fan of plenty of verses, Star Wars and everything else I can imagine that you've watched plenty of times over. But before we start officially with, the 10 films we'll look at, which is basically Rocky 1 through 5, as mentioned.
Which is crazy that it's 10.
Yeah. Then we got Balboa, which is unofficially 6. We'll touch on that later, I guess.
6, and then we have the director's cut of...
cut of 4, right? And then we got, of course, the 3 Creeds. Go ahead, brother. Free country. Chug away. But we got those. We'll get to them officially as far as, they're on the screen there. We got to take up some screen space too, just to show, we got faces to the voices of what we're going to do here. But before we get into that, I did want to ask you, where would you rank the Rocky verse in that case compared to all the verses you're a fan of, Star Wars and all the other franchises you're so fond of? If you had to.
That's a great question. I mean, honestly, I don't know. It's neck and neck with Star Wars, to be honest.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of weak links there, and Rocky. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, the original Rocky 4, the original Rocky 5 are the only weak links. So, obviously there's like the MCU, which I'm not as versed in as I should be, and Sylvester Stallone is involved in that as well. Kudos to him.
Yeah.
But as far as the ones that I know, it's pretty high. It's neck and neck with Star Wars. I'm sure, Marvel has the title on that.
For you, or?
Not for me, but I mean, just like objectively speaking.
Because of the number of movies they got?
The number of movies and just the quality and the amount of money that they made and
that's crazy.
All of that, yeah.
That's not to say crazy to take like you're wrong, but just like I didn't think about it that way, or I wouldn't consider the amount of entries something has to be like a determining factor as far as it being better than others. Because the MCU does have like 20-something, I think, officially and unofficially, since Iron Man pretty much won 2008. I mean, okay, so we'll get to that right now. But
right,
then
they were good for a long while.
Oh yeah, they had a good long streak.
What I heard, yeah, they had a good little streak going, But they've had some lesser efforts.
So setting that aside just briefly, let's say, I guess, typical question, if you were on a deserted island and you had Star Wars or Rocky to pick from, and you got to die watching either or. Can you pick it all?
It's really tough.
That tough, huh?
I think I got to go Rocky.
Okay.
Which is why we're having this conversation, this episode. Yeah.
I mean, eventually.
I think I have to.
What was the first one? 72?
No, 76.
76. Okay, I'm thinking of Godfather. My fault. So yeah, Rocky 1 was 76. Fast forward to now. What is it? 2026 will be 50 years since the first one came out. Looking forward to that one. You know, hopefully we'll still be around to do that review for that one.
Yeah,
50 years
for
later.
sure. Yeah.
And or they'll do like they did with 4. They'll re-release it. You know, maybe director's cut if necessary, or just like unreleased footage.
I mean, 50 years is insane. I mean, 50 years. When Rocky came out, 50 years earlier was 1926.
Yeah.
So wow.
And like they barely had cars running properly.
And
like that.
when we were born, Rocky was 9 years old.
Yeah.
So what does that say about us?
Oh man, it says a lot.
It's not good.
It says enough.
Yeah, it says enough.
But yeah, it's crazy to think like we became fans of the franchise at a relatively young age, and I guess we got the unfair, the rougher end of the stick, because I guess for me at least the earliest memory was Rocky 5, because I was 5 years old when that came out. And I didn't get no justification until like 2006 when I could go to theater, watch Rocky Balboa. Oh, this can't be that bad, I hope. And it wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
God.
No, I mean, we never saw a Rocky movie in the theater before.
No.
So that was pretty special.
Was your first Rocky 5?
Rocky Balboa? No, Rocky Balboa.
No,
I mean, like
just,
watching?
Yeah, ever.
I don't remember. It might have been. It probably was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it by any chance on Channel 11?
I think we actually had a VHS of it.
From Channel 11? Because they always had it on like every other Sunday.
Yeah, they might have. It might have been on Channel 11. I don't remember, but Rocky has played a big part of my life since I was about 3 years old. It was always on. You know, I have a lot of older brothers, so Rocky was always playing in the background, or you know.
You're not the youngest, right, of your brothers?
No,
I forget.
One younger than me.
One younger than you, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And are they fans of the franchise at all? To your level, more or less?
No, not to my... Nobody's a fan to my level, but on planet Earth. But, you know, but like that, they like it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So your older brothers, I guess, do they have any memories of watching like the older Rocky movies in theaters? Were they old enough? I mean, for that?
You know, I don't remember hearing anything about them watching Rocky movies in theaters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure if they ever saw one in the theater, but yeah.
Were any of them old enough to see Rocky 1 in the theaters?
No.
Okay.
No,
they would have been like maybe 3 or something, right? No, 4.
Not even. No.
No, 4. I mean, 85, right?
Or Rocky 4. Yeah, they would. Yeah, Shane would have been like 9. So yeah.
Oh, okay, so
yeah.
Maybe.
But I don't remember ever hearing anything about seeing Rocky in the theater. Yeah.
That would have been cool, though.
It would have been cool. But we did see Rocky 4 in the theater.
We did see that, yes, much later. The
bit of a trip.
It was just because, well, I mean, we'll talk more about it once we get to that one.
Yeah, of course.
But it was, you know, my first experience in the theaters with a Rocky movie besides Rocky Balboa. I cherish that still, as simple as that may seem. But just seeing something like that classic and that memorable, they hold so dear to your heart like that. Like, I'm glad I'm able to say now I've seen 4 in theaters. I've been able to see Godfather 1 in theaters a couple of years ago, whenever that was. And Scarface. So like my top 3 of my top 5 ever, like I've been able to see in theaters.
Okay, but you haven't seen Rocky 2 in theaters.
It hasn't been out yet in theaters, so
yeah.
I don't think they got around to it, or I would hope.
We gotta make that right for you.
We could have just rented out a theater.
George's favorite, Rocky 2.
Oh yeah, no shame in that. Listen, we'll get to it, and I'll explain why. And I've told you why, but I'll explain why too. I'll elaborate on it.
All right.
And you'll explain your favorite 2 as well, which is 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. So here we go, I guess, officially with the Rocky list.
Let's do it.
This is our Rocky movie tier list. So if you have your own, if you haven't done it yet, we'll stop being a pussy and get busy, get working on that. But in the meanwhile, enjoy ours. We're gonna start work our way backwards, like eating ass, which we're not judging either. If that's how you start off things, if that's how foreplay starts and ends with you, then free country.
After that.
Free country. I won't ask if you would ask. You know, it's not my business.
Hey,
I haven't. I don't like it. I don't want it done to me either. So I'm just veto me out. I'm opposed to it
maybe
entirely.
after my next beer, I'll let.
Would you turn down your ass being eaten if politely offered? Like, Ryan, if you don't mind, I'm down here already. I just gotta lift your nuts, put them to the side.
Who's asking?
Well, let's just imagine whoever you would want to ask is asking.
Ask me after my next beer. I love the politely.
Man,
Don't be crass about it. Just do you? Would you mind?
shove your nose right in there.
Yeah, don't
Like,
just don't. Yeah.
oh, do you mind?
Yeah. Take. Like, be a little gentle. Do you mind if I just lift the nuts up? All right, continue.
But working our way backwards, we're gonna go start first with Creed 3, which we do have on screen over here. We'll do that right here, somewhere in the corner. You'll see it when we move it, watching at home. We got Creed 3, the most recent release of anything from the Rocky franchise. It does count. It's within the Rocky verse. It's a spin-off, from the main character, Rocky Balboa, obviously. And, as I wrote down, it's, the more, I guess, emotionally compromising of them all for Adonis Creed, involving, him not wanting to reflect on his past in the, adoption home, wherever he was, his old friend Damien, and, having to deal with not being so open with his wife, finance Tessa Thompson, shouts to her. How would you not want to open up to her like that? And having a daughter.
To answer your question, if it was Tessa Thompson, yes.
Oh, if she asked.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a yes.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Same here.
Who's going to say no?
In her case, I'd have to reconsider.
Yeah.
'Cause maybe she'll hum on my ass cheeks and it'll feel good. I don't know. But then also he's got to deal with the fact that I forget if they even mentioned or brought up the daughter in Creed 2, but he's got a toddler age, I guess you could say, daughter that's deaf.
Yeah, she's in the third.
She's in the second too, or
Well, the second is when you find out she's deaf.
the daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember. I keep mixing them up like that, but
Yeah.
okay.
That happens in the second and third, yeah.
Okay, so right, and the third is when they just start dealing with the fact that they have a deaf kid. And
Yeah,
they're raising
exactly, yeah.
Okay. And I did like the fact, I think I read they actually had to learn actual sign language.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I think whatever they're doing is like legit, like sign language. Mm-hmm. Which we got a little glimpse of in Creed 1 when she did the little bullshit like joke with him in the diner when they went to go to get cheesesteaks. Because she started developing a deaf thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll get to that too when it's time for Creed 1. But right now, Creed 3. So I'll say this. I like Creed 3. Again, I love the emotional compromise of the character, the depth as far as like revisiting the past. I liked how they did the flashbacks of, they didn't directly do like when they were younger, him and Damien, then just skip to like teenage years when they like kind of parted ways and then just, bring you up to speed like that. It kind of jumped around all over the place. It did feel like, and also the thing is with 3, I remember we brought this up to individually that supposedly Sylvester felt he wasn't needed per se, the character I mean. So that's why he's not there. I've heard and read otherwise. Of course, it's involving money and, the rights and everything too. But he's not in it whatsoever, Rocky. He's barely mentioned and not even by name, I think.
Yeah, I don't even know if they mention him in it.
Right. So they only reference him, but they actually name Apollo a bunch of times, which makes sense.
No, of course.
How do you feel overall about Creed 3?
We actually saw Creed 3 together. And
of course, you were drunk.
We
Were you?
Was I?
Were you?
I wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that time we went there to the one Lower Manhattan with the bar? You were surprised they had a bar there.
Yeah.
With your brother, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you buzzed or no?
Yeah, I'm always buzzed.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm high on life, buddy. I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. No, I like Creed 3 overall. Again, much like I did think it was an improvement over the second one. But again, I know it sounds corny to say this about a Rocky movie, but, it's an underdog story. Much like the second one, you find out that and we'll get there, or maybe this will be the segue, but you find out Stallone is writing it again, and they're bringing back Drago as the villain. So you're just kind of like, oh my God, like, you got to be kidding me after Creed 1. So like when Creed 3, I found out that Michael B. Jordan was directing it. I got a little scared. I'm like, okay, like, this sounds like history repeating itself. They were able to jump that hurdle, with Creed 2, but are they going to do it with Creed 3? And, honestly, I do think that Creed 3 was better overall. It was missing a few elements for me. Like, it was original. It was solid. I did miss the presence of Stallone. I guess I, missed like a little bit of the corny factor. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good movie, and it's, Jonathan Majors probably would have been nominated had things not gone south for him. So
yeah,
for many reasons. So
allegedly or not, according to what he did, as we've been told, yeah, it sucks because I liked him in like just about everything he's done or I've seen him in. He's been really good.
Yeah, his performance was top notch, and Michael B. Jordan brought it again. But yeah, Jonathan Majors, that was the best performance in a Rocky movie since Paulie in the first one.
And also, I don't recall if you were ever a fan like that of like anime at all. I'm not either, but like
I heard Creed 3 was very inspired, like
very
Michael B.
heavily
Jordan.
influenced, especially the last fight, which I really got the vibes when I didn't even know an anime like that. But I was like, this is different.
It's very different. It was jarring. It was in a good way.
Because it's in the little details, it's in the way just the angling of the camera, the lighting, everything too. Something that
I want to say more, but I also don't want to be, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, because that was was like a huge,
I do remember there might have been like a couple of gasps or like kind of like mouth open or two in the theater, like trying to take that
us.
in. Well, yeah, besides us, of course.
Yeah.
Collectively,
there might have been a few.
If not that, some head scratching. Like,
whoa, what are they doing right now? Yeah, they definitely did something different with Michael B. Jordan definitely did something different.
Because the beautiful thing is too, that's something that Sly would have done at all, like that style, that approach.
No, not at all.
Because I bet you,
or anybody. I mean, like, in fairness, Stallone didn't direct either of the Creeds.
Right.
Obviously Coogler was the first one, and the second one was,
I forget too.
But he did a good job.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name right now. But
the little touch I liked, that was also an anime reference, I think. Or probably like Michael B. Jordan telling Jonathan Majors to do it, was the way he would block his punches, like crossing his arms forward.
Oh.
Him taking the blows like that.
Yeah.
Because that's something I never seen in boxing legitimately.
Right.
But I know I definitely seen that like in an anime or two, like that kind of blocking like impact.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't pick up on
I don't even think that's legal in boxing though, the way that he did it.
It might be. I think you can block that you want. Yeah.
So why do you do it more often?
I don't know. It may not be the best approach. I don't think you can use the Rocky movies to learn how to box.
True that. But did you ever buy into that? Who was it said? Oh, Eddie Murphy, I think, in Delirious, when he said that joke about like all Italians felt so tough at the watch Rocky.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start throwing punches at everything, the wall, everything, your brothers. It's great.
Back then, the wives. They were,
yeah.
Allegedly, that's stereotypes. We're not talking about that.
We're not. Yeah.
We're not going to feed into that either because Rocky is such a great, like, humble, like down to earth. Like, how do you not love the guy? Which is another thing we'll touch on later too. But I went ahead and I said for Creed 3 in this case, if I had to rank it out of the little tier list I made here, I'm being cute, whatever. And I got your cosign, I guess. We'll break it down for people too now. So we got S tier at the very top, red here, aka Yo Adrian, we did it. We got the A tier, or When Rocky Win. It's hard to see in the yellow, but B, we got I Didn't Hear No Bell. C tier would be Hey Woman. D would be Paulie's Robot, because who remembers that fondly? And or if it's absolute trash, it's the worst one, it goes in F tier / if he dies, he dies. I gotta put, for me, Creed 3, I'd give it an A. Win Rocky win. It's not perfect. It's not the best, obviously, but I put it up there as one of the finer tuned, just worthy entries of like amongst the top. What do you say?
I got to go B. I didn't hear no bell. You know, it's a solid movie, but it's not, you know, it's not A tier for me. It's, you know, I haven't rewatched it, and I probably should, but yeah, it's not quite A tier.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to play by house rules, and since we're in your house, your property, we're going to put it at B tier. As far as, oops, what happened here? No, so you freaked out. I couldn't believe it either. I think I just messed it up. Oh, yeah. Right where you are. There you go. There you go. Okay, technical difficulties, but all right, we're good. Yeah. So now we got number 3. Creed 3 goes officially at B. We're going to play by Ryno's house rules.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight him.
And I'm going to play it by my house rules. I got to take a leak. So.
Yeah, go ahead. Moving on with the tier list, we are moving along down in order to Creed 2. Not so recent, obviously, before Creed 3. But Creed 2, as you mentioned already before, it was, to my surprise, a little early as far as jumping back into the familiar villain bag with Drago Jr. pretty much. I forget, was he his son or like his bastard son out of wedlock or something, or
no? It's with the wife.
With the wife. Oh, but she had left him anyways, right?
She left him after he lost to Rocky.
Right. Big ass Brigitte Nielsen, back when she was still something to look at.
Yeah.
Tall.
So not so much in Creed 2.
No, I mean, you know, they can only do so much with special effects,
hey, look,
but
there's.
Yo, take it easy on the face.
Hey, yo, like. But yeah, let's save the special effects for the Star Wars episode.
Yeah, but I still feel it was too soon to bring in something so familiar or so kind of like reaching into the Rocky bag with Drago, even though this version was like a lot more serious, not so gimmicky, not so stereotypical per se.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I mean, when I found out that, you know, they were, you know, as I said earlier, that like, you know, you had Creed, the original, and you had Ryan Coogler behind it, and he's, you know, he had done Fruitvale Station with Michael B. Jordan, so, you know, just had this very indie movie feel. Stallone was coming back to reprise his role, but not, you know, not screenwriting, not directing, so it all seemed very promising. And then, you know, everything came to fruition. Everything, you know, it was a really, really good movie. You know, people getting up in the theaters and cheering just like the original Rocky. So when, you know, I found out that the second one was going to be written by Stallone, as much as I like Rocky Balboa, which we'll get to, and Drago, his son, was going to be the villain. I was so depressed about it. I really didn't think there was any chance it was going to be good. And you know, but lo and behold, it was actually a very solid movie.
It was.
It really was. I mean, it's not perfect, but it is very good, and it's very entertaining.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like the first time here is when the main character really gets brutalized, like within 2 movies instead of Rocky, where like he had to wait till like what 3 till he really got beat up by Lang the first time.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, let's not forget first time with Apollo.
Because,
but.
Yeah, well, excuse me, but that also was because Mickey, you know, he couldn't get his head right because Mickey had just like fallen down and, you know, had to be lied out, and you know, and we all knew he was gonna die. So like Creed 2, I mean, Adonis just gets fucking beat to hell, like beyond words. So yeah, it was rough. It was really rough.
Still remember the the ice bath scene after the first beating.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Really, so he really sells those well. Those beatings, you know.
He does, yeah.
Any brutality.
And you know, he wins the first fight, even though he gets his ass beat by disqualification. And my biggest complaint about the movie is he wins the first fight by disqualification. He should have lost the second fight. I really wish, just like the first Rocky, he should have he should have lost the second fight, because I mean, if you're going by points, I mean, he really does get wrecked that fight, but he hangs in there, and you know, it just would have been a better movie. And then there's actually a deleted scene, which I think that I've shown you before, of Spider Rico's funeral.
Yeah, he did.
Spider Rico dies, and honestly, that would have been the best scene in the entire movie. And they cut it.
Yeah, just to bring it full circle, huh?
Yeah, it just really, it would have improved it, but overall, it was it's a really good movie, and I love when they're running together at the end. Like Adonis is at the grave with his wife and his child, and he's talking, and while he's talking, it cuts to Ivan, and I can't remember his son's name in the movie.
I don't remember either. Victor, maybe?
Yeah, Victor. Yeah, Victor Drago. Okay. And it shows them like running together.
Oh, right.
Together, yeah. So, that was pretty poignant. Pretty poignant stuff.
Yeah, definitely still gripping.
Yeah, way better than I thought.
Way better than it should have been, right? Because just like you, I wasn't like so immediately upset with a Drago already in 2, but I was like, God, this might be the dip in quality. Like we didn't get into like 4.
It's just such an obvious page out of the playbook of Stallone, you know?
Yeah, because you know what did it for me though? I thought, okay, 2 wasn't so bad, but does that mean 3 they're going back to like Clubber Lang Jr. or Clubber Lang the Third or something?
Right, which I think Stallone had in mind.
I think I read that. I think you shared that with me or something.
Yeah.
Which, that would have been overkill.
That would have been overkill. And it wasn't that far from it, but, you know, they hit it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think everybody else too played their part real well in Creed 2 overall. Again, gripping, engaging, dramatic, all the action, you know, the brutality of it too, losing just to win again, the big one that matters.
Yeah, I mean that fight is really brutal.
Yeah.
I mean that's the most brutal fight in the Rocky franchise.
You'd say so?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean the way it's filmed. I mean, obviously, obviously Apollo Creed dies in the 4th.
Of course.
But then we're going to get to that with the director's cut because it's not as brutal in the director's cut. It's brutal, but, you know, he's got a little fight in him.
Yeah,
which was, you know, one of my favorite things about that.
Although recently rewatching Creed 3, I did kind of feel that way with the first fight that Damien had with the Spanish kid. The one that was champ.
Oh, he wrecks him.
Right.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
With the dirty tactics and just really ripping in it.
All right, I got to rewatch Creed 3.
Yeah.
But now they're not on Amazon Prime.
No, you got to rent them on Amazon.
You got to rent them now, and my box set's missing. What are you going to do?
Probably Paulie traded in for something.
Yeah. Seriously.
But okay, so that's Creed 2. We said enough about it already. We can touch back on it later on if anything, but
the first Creed, I mean, really just fantastic. I mean, Stallone nominated for an Oscar again.
Well, we got to give Creed 2 a grade. So
we have to give Creed 2 a grade.
Yeah.
Oh. So
all right, so I went with an A for this one too. I liked it. Not as well. It's a toss-up for me between Creed 2 and Creed 3, but I still say this is A, like worthy of it.
Okay.
If you had to, what would you give it?
Again, I got to go B.
Another B.
Another B. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So far we got Creed 3 and 2 at B, aka I didn't hear no bell. Okay. Can't be mad at that as of yet. We're not done, so don't be mad, please. We still got a lot more coming. So we got Creed 2 out of the way. Now we're down to Creed 1, which for me was a very enjoyable watch, a very pleasant surprise. And I was like, well, we got it good with Rocky Balboa 16 years later. Did we really deserve the pleasant surprise that was Creed 1? Michael B. Jordan at the helm of, in charge of the face of now the verse, the Rocky verse.
We didn't deserve it.
No, and it was really good. I'm a sucker for hip hop being like perfectly blended into something, not just forced in or wedged in, the little select soundtrack and everything. The remix of the Rocky theme when he's doing his training montage, running through Philly. Love Michael B. Jordan, like you mentioned. I love Fruitvale Station. I can't watch that ever again. It made me cry too much.
Yeah, I never watched it. I couldn't. I can't bring myself to do
Yeah, once was enough for me. So
George isn't happy about that. He's
mental note too.
It's my last episode.
But how'd you feel overall about Creed 1? Recapping.
I thought it was fantastic. On every level. I mean, the directing was fantastic. The writing was great. The one-shot fight that they have.
Oh, yeah.
Stallone's performance was amazing. Their chemistry together was amazing. The chemistry with Tessa Thompson was amazing. The only thing about the movie, like, honestly, that I don't love is, like, when they're all riding the motorcycles.
The dirt bikes.
Yeah, the dirt bikes. And, yeah, it was like they're trying to recapture the original Rocky, but it was almost as corny as Rocky 2 with the kids running after him.
Oh, thank God you too. I hate that part where the kids are running after him.
It cost the movie. It cost the movie a grade. Definitely cost the movie a grade, and it's going to cost Creed a grade because it's just not a great moment. But I thought Creed was fantastic.
Because, it's just as ridiculous when we get to it, too. Rocky 4, the whole point was, it really feels like Rocky was the one that ended the Cold War in his universe. It feels
in the Rocky verse, he did, yeah.
That's about as cringe as it feels like, with, like, the kids chasing after him in Rocky 2, and then, like, the dirt bikes at the end of Creed 1.
Yeah.
Just unnecessary.
That's actually a really good point, but, I actually have to say Rocky 2, the kids running after him, is more cringe than him ending the Cold War.
You think so?
It's that bad, yeah. And Creed, then with the dirt bikes, might actually be worse than him ending the Cold War. It's not great.
Imagine getting your face beat in by like a pretty much robot human being, steroid out the gills, and having to give a speech afterwards.
Yeah.
About thermonuclear power or whatever he did afterwards.
Oh my God.
But again, that's Rocky 4. We'll get to that too at that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, not a lot to say about Creed 1 besides I really loved it. It was great.
Fantastic. I mean, Oscar nominations, just,
Ryan
great,
Coogler.
Great box office receipts. There's not much you can say about it. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's hard to find any flaws besides the dirt bikes at the end with Creed 1.
And it's worth mentioning that Stallone was nominated for the second time for the same character, even though this was a supporting actor. I'm not sure if that's happened before. I would think not, but I could be wrong. But I would think that no one's ever been nominated for the same character twice.
Probably not. But if it had to be at least just one, Rocky deserves it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Apropos.
Something's telling me that there was one other character. There was somebody else who's been nominated twice.
You are the movie buff. You would know probably best.
I would, but I can't remember right now.
Yeah, but I mean, in that case then, I went with Creed 1. I gave it an S. I think it's like, for me at least, it's my third favorite out of all of them. For me, it goes Rocky 2, 1, and then Creed 1.
You just... spoiler alert.
Come on. Who do they think we are?
Yeah.
Who do we think we are?
Yeah. No, Creed, I'm going to go with an A.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, very close to superb, but I'm going to go A.
Okay, so we got our first one of the A tier when Rocky win otherwise for Creed 1 in this case. All right, we should stick that bad boy up there. We should have some... Oh, yeah, there we are. Hey, we're not blocking any more titles.
There we go.
Oh, you know what? We're the right tone of skin for someone to be mad that we were covering out the black man on the cover. We didn't mean to oppress. I totally didn't mean it. I should have put it on this side, but then it blocked the tears.
It wasn't my fault.
Sorry. Me too. I'm off like it, still.
Not a good look.
Someone with blue hair shaking their fist at the screen right now.
Yeah, seriously.
But now we move down away from the Creeds. We go to the very last entry, or we thought was the very last one, at least for a while, which is Rocky Balboa, 2006. What is it? I'll let you start off. What is there you want to say about Rocky Balboa?
I mean, first and foremost, Rocky Balboa, I mean, you know, I grew up, just like George, I grew up thinking Rocky 5 was it. You know, I didn't think that there was ever going to be another one. It was so bad. And then as you get older and you get more into film and you read more into it, then you find out that like how much of a box office disaster it was. And you're like, this definitely isn't happening.
How bad was it?
I mean, off the top of my head, I want to say like worldwide, it didn't even hit 100. I think it cost like 47 million and made like 88.
Really?
You got to factor in like marketing and stuff like that. I mean, I'll look that up before the episode ends, but something like that. I was looking into it, but yeah, it just like domestically made like 47 million, whereas Rocky 4 made like 127, the highest grossing domestically of the series. So, yeah, I just, you know, never thought Rocky Balboa would happen. Saw the reviews come in, thought it was promising, saw it in the theater actually 3 times. It was like a Star Wars movie for me. I just had to keep going back and seeing it, and I thought it was, I thought it was a really good movie. You know, it's executed as much like Creed 2.
Yeah.
Executed as well as it can be. I mean, the story's not believable.
No.
It's far-fetched. It's ridiculous. But less ridiculous with the Tyson fight coming up in 2 days because they're just about the same age. And,
oddly enough.
Remember, in Rocky Balboa, I think Rocky's supposed to be like 60, and they're not going to sanction him to fight because he's too old. But now that we do have a professional fight in 2 days, for someone who's just about the same age, like 58. So it's not as far-fetched as it once was. And Mike Tyson actually makes a cameo on that.
He does.
Which is one of my least favorite moments in the movie.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just silly. But now that he's kind of reliving the story a little, it gives it a little bit of a new turn, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at Tyson now, training still, he looks like just as ferocious almost as he did in his prime.
He looks scary. And then, you know, not only that, but yeah, I mean, again, much like Creed 2, Balboa does things like Little Marie, the one that he... Yeah, the one that he like says, "Screw you, creepo." She comes back and she's the bartender, and she remembers him, and or he remembers her.
Yeah,
and it's just it's wild. It shouldn't work as well as it does, but it does work. But he disappears at the end, which leads you to believe he dies, and then Creed happens. But you know, But I like that he has the chair in the tree for Adrian's grave, not only in Balboa, but it does it again in Creed.
Yeah, he keeps it there.
He keeps it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's one of those little bits of details of Rocky that you can't help but love. Like, goddamn, this guy, he just keeps on getting more endearing with age.
Right. Yeah.
Because I do have a little thought I had about Rocky, like for the longest time, but I'll bring it up later once we're through the tier list. But yeah, Balboa for me too was like just a pleasant surprise. I think I saw it in the theaters twice. Mm-hmm. The first one was day of when it came out, just because, you know, it's a Rocky movie, first time in theaters. If it's bad, it's bad, whatever. At least I got to experience it. But the second time was like, just, you know, I loved it so much. Did I get it right? Am I like hallucinating? Am I just putting too much faith into it? But yeah, it, you know, confirmed second watch in the theaters, it was just fantastic. It was like really, you know, like I mentioned already before to you, 16 years after the fact, we got 5, which is so terrible and abysmal. They really made up for it and then some with Balboa overall. But my biggest beef with Balboa, which I guess you were alluding to as well, is his whole relationship with his son at that point, which seems so improbable and so like egotistical, one-sided on the kid's end. Just because like Rocky's so beloved by the neighborhood, you know, he's not as rich as he was.
I never felt that way.
No?
No,
You
not
think
really.
he was justified at all, the kid?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I think they play it well. I mean, I think, you know, there are scenes that don't work as well, you know, but...
I mean, we did get the one speech from him that's like been played over and over in the gym in the background.
Without a doubt, yeah. So, sorry, I just kicked the table. But, no, I didn't think so. I didn't get that. I mean, I didn't love that actor in the role.
I didn't either.
You know, even though I'd seen him on shows before, like Heroes, Gilmore Girls, and you know, he's a good actor. I didn't love him for that role. I could have used a little bit more, you know, but he played the role right. He's just like a tiny, skinny little kid, and you know, and then there's like the unbelievable part where they're, you know, playing Rocky fighting Mason Dixon and the cartoon fight, as they call it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they're like teasing him and all that. So, you know, that part was a little silly, but, you know, calling him Little Rocky and all that. But, you know, overall, I thought it was, you know, pretty good.
Because, I mean, obviously it's a movie character, but wouldn't you have loved to have a father like Rocky?
I mean, I would have, but, you know, again, you know, yeah, I guess they could have played into that a little bit more.
Think so?
Yeah.
Because I know...
I mean, technically speaking, he is the same... I mean, it's sad, but he is the same character from Rocky V, which is, you know, played by Sage Stallone, who passed away sadly.
R.I.P., yeah.
But, yeah. You know, obviously, it's a big improvement over that. It's hard to imagine that he's the kid from Rocky V that was beating people up and stuff like that. Actually, I don't think I've ever thought of that before. I don't think I've ever made the connection that would be the same kid.
Yeah, right?
No, never, yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah. But, you know, overall, I liked it, you know.
I did too. I mean, again, it still bothers me.
And then he pops up in Creed 2 at the end.
At the very end, yes.
Which was great.
Which might have been...
And he looks more surprised than any of us that he's in the movie. He's got hair down to his shoulders. He's like, hey, what's up? Rocky, hey, you, she looks just like her mom. And then he's just like, you want to come in? Like, it's like, you know, okay.
Which, you know, many alluded to that being, I guess, the proper send-off to Rocky in Creed.
As it should be, yeah.
You think he should get anything in for the next
No, he needs to go.
Yeah.
That's it. That was the perfect send-off. He went to go see his son. He's living in, like, wherever the hell they moved
I think
to.
Toronto or something.
I think so, yeah. Canada, yeah, so...
Yeah, he had to go to Canada to calm down that kid.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Exactly.
They told him some manners, that fucking prick.
Piece of shit. Piece of garbage.
But, yeah, so if I had to go with a grade for Balboa, I did end up giving it an A. I want to make sure I got my letters right. I know how to count, I think. Yeah, A. I gave it an A because, again, for me, just like Creed 1, pleasant surprise, out of nowhere, knocked it out the park. Checked off all the boxes. Yes, a little cringe in some parts, as you mentioned, we touched on already. But I still gave it a strong A. It was like really a strong entry and like dipping the franchise back into the fountain of youth, I guess, in a sense.
Oh, yeah.
How about you?
Honorable mention, it starts with Take It Back. The song, Take It Back. Do, 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 take it back.
I'm drawing blanks
opening
here.
Credits. That's Frank Stallone wrote that.
Oh God.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good for him.
That's what they sing over the fire.
Okay.
Or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is the very first thing.
Not Rocky 2. Rocky 2 is there are two kinds of love, and he's carrying Adrian. Hey, yo, like I just got married, and they're like, oh, there are two kinds of love. Yeah, but I me personally, I give it a B again. You know, I'm obviously not as high. I'm a little more of a conservative ranker than yourself, but you know.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, but I respect it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're putting Rocky 6 unofficially. Why didn't they go with 6? What do you think?
Yeah. Well, he just wanted to remind everybody. I don't think Rocky 6 would have worked.
Think so?
I think it would have made a lot less money, yeah.
Oh, you know what? That is a good point. Maybe it might have.
I think he really just wanted to get it across. Like, Rocky Balboa, this is me. So
I'll hold up the camera. Okay, that's fine. Camera glitched a little bit. Sorry, that was me. I didn't check that sooner. But yeah, now we go from Balboa, unofficially Rocky 6, to number 5,
right.
which we did a whole episode on.
Let's keep this short.
Yeah.
We did a whole episode on this.
Go back to it. I'll link it here somewhere.
But
for you.
I'll let. So you so graciously let me start the last one. Why don't you start this one?
No, I insist. This is your house. I've been taking the lead so far. Please.
Rocky
name's on the list here. Go
Rocky
ahead.
5, honestly, just Rocky 5 is it's pretty much dismal in every respect. There's really not a saving grace. There's only a couple, and again, don't want to, no spoiler alert if you're watching this for the first time and this is inspiring you to watch the Rocky franchise. I don't want to ruin the few good moments that there are in Rocky 5.
Okay.
I don't hate it as much as everybody else does. I mean, I know what George is going to give it grade wise. I'm not going to go that low, although it's going to be pretty close.
Okay.
But it's really bad. I mean, it's just the franchise wasn't trending in the right direction to begin with.
No.
And this just, it's like the one spoiler I'll give you is it ends with a street fight. There's actually very little ring action, and the little ring action there is. Actually, I think they actually do have some. The soundtrack isn't bad.
Not bad, but it's very 90s.
It's very 90s, but like some of it's dated. But
well, I mean, sorry, 90s in the sense of like they do the kind of jump cut here to there with like some oddly enough perfect song to go along with it.
Yeah, I mean, like I wouldn't say the editing is anything to rave about. It is worth noting that John G. Avildsen came back, who is the director of the original Rocky. Okay. And also the director of Karate Kid and Karate Kid Part 2.
Another franchise you got to watch.
Yeah, fine movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the soundtrack isn't terrible, but it's just. It's just crazy. Rocky gets off the plane. His son was like, okay. His son was like 3, maybe 4 when he's watching him fight Drago. Mm-hmm. And then when he gets back, his son is like 13 now. I mean, it's just like the only stuff that you could pull in the 80s, but unfortunately this didn't come out in the 80s. If it would have come out in 1989, it almost would have been like, okay, well, you know what?
We could forgive
this
it.
is just what we did back then, you know?
It's Rocky.
Yeah, it's like Marty McFly. Well, I know you haven't seen Back to the Future, but it's like Marty McFly having like incestuous moments with his mom, and then just like, stuff like that. But it doesn't work on any level. It's just really bad. It's just really, really bad. And I'm just gonna beat you to it. I mean, my grade. I just want to keep this one short because it's brutal. But you do get. This is the last appearance of Burgess Meredith as Mickey.
Yeah.
Well, he shows up in flashbacks in Rocky Balboa, but this was the last one filmed when he was alive. And they're, it's not just flashbacks. They actually, again, more to the detriment of the movie, they have him reprising his role as Mickey, but he now looks like he's 173. And so he just looks decrepit.
Right.
And it's just like that's not Mickey. That's not how we remember him, from 1983 with... or 82 rather with Rocky 3. When you hit that age, 7 years makes a big difference, and it's kind of jarring.
They could have definitely used some B-roll of him from something past, right, to do him more justice.
Without a doubt, yeah.
So why do you think?
They used B-roll in Rocky Balboa. They didn't use anything from Rocky 5.
Right.
Yeah,
so. But then it makes you think, why didn't they just do that? Why drag him in there like when he's like way past his, looking convincing?
I don't know. He was in Grumpy Old Man a few years later, so I don't think, it was a good paycheck for him.
Well,
maybe that was
can't beat that.
Maybe that was
can't beat that.
I'll give Stallone that.
Good.
But I'm gonna lead for the first time with the grade. I'm gonna give this a D.
Okay.
An F, which I'm sorry, spoiler alert again. That's what George gives it. It's not unwarranted. I just find there's just a little bit of this movie.
What's the saving grace for you then? Why is it not an F and a D for you? Because I really found nothing redeeming for me besides the street fight at the end. Which I still, even at almost 40 years old, I'd love to have one.
I think there are some moments between Tommy Gunn when Tommy Gunn is approaching. I would be remiss to not mention the fact that this movie starts with Rocky after the Drago fight. Mm-hmm. Not collapsed or like nearly dying. No, standing in the shower, clenching his ass cheeks, just so you can appreciate how nice his ass is. And you know what?
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's a good ass. And it's muscular. It's a nice solid ass. But no one used to see it.
No.
And he's like, oh, get Adrian. And he's like, oh, the angels are pulling on me. Anyway, like I can't, it's bad. Maybe it is an F. Maybe it is an F. You know what? Let's go F.
You sure?
Yeah.
I mean, because I didn't want to drag you.
No, there's just nothing. There's just nothing. There's not there. Okay. If you're a fan of the franchise and you might be able to scrape your way up to a D, but if you just like happen to like never see a Rocky movie and you were on a desert island and there was only one movie you could watch and that was it, you would give it an F. There's nothing. There's actually nothing good about it.
All right. Well, I didn't mean to drag it down with me, but
but I think as I started remembering that scene, it's bad on every level.
So final letter grade for you.
Yeah,
F.
let's go F.
All right. So first one we agree on.
They failed.
They failed us. Yes.
F means failed, right?
Yep.
That's it. Done.
All right. So first one we agree on being an F, and that goes to Rocky V, which I believe might be the only one at that grade. Hopefully. Yeah. But we still got some more.
But you never know.
You never know. Because now we're going on to, of course, Rocky IV, but not just yet because they actually came out with a remake, which was the director's cut, I guess, 30-something years later.
They called it Rocky v. Drago.
Rocky v. Drago, yes.
Okay.
Because it reminded me so much of when that came out. We went to see that together too as well. We went to see
that as well too.
Which was a great.
We have a tendency to go see Rocky movies.
Why not? I mean, come on, once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime.
On the big screen like that.
Which was fun, yeah.
And we had that nice little lead-in press conference, one-on-one with Stallone too.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic.
Live actually too, which is crazy.
Yeah.
That was fun.
It was one night only, right?
One night only, yes sir.
Yeah.
But this reminded me so much of another review we did as well, which was for Godfather Coda /3, the one I should have put out there. I'm sorry. I'm Francis Ford Coppola. I couldn't think straight. I was trying to save, my daughter from making out with my nephew.
Which didn't sway your verdict too much.
For Godfather, you mean? Or?
Yeah.
No. Slightly better.
Slightly better. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. But
yeah,
Rocky v. Drago, on the other hand, significant improvement.
Oh yeah. No doubt in that. No arguing that at all. I think the first thing that sticks out like that would be the shuffling of like the order of scenes. Mm-hmm. They add stuff to it that makes you think, why didn't they just put that in there before the first time around? And they, to no one's unpleasant surprise, they cut out the robot completely. Paulie's robot.
Yeah. Cut out the robot completely.
How'd you feel the first time you saw the robot in Rocky IV?
I mean, I was a kid. I loved it.
Okay.
It was fantastic. I thought, when you're a kid, you think Rocky IV is the best Rocky. He fights the Russian. It's great. It's the best thing in the world. And then you get older and you're like, oh, wow, this is not good. But with this one, the big differences were in the first half. The second half is I think we should leave out the spoiler alert at the end. No, yeah, the pacing is a lot different. They use alternate scenes. Rocky and Creed, they don't have the conversation in where they have it in the first one. They have it like out in the garden somewhere. It also has more of a Rocky 3 feel to it. There's a scene where he talks to Adrian. Again, looks more like Rocky 3. So he had a good idea. I think he had a good idea for the movie, and then just didn't follow up with it. He just let his worst impulses, for box office domination take over. But the main thing, and it's not spoiling anything. The main thing for me that really stood out is Apollo does not go out like a chump. Still goes out in the second round. Still dies.
Surprising.
Yeah, but he fights his ass off to the end. Because in the original, he just gets demolished. Like he never boxed before. And in the director's cut, he's still throwing punches. He's like, no, I'm not going out like a chump. I'm not. And Stallone filmed this.
Yeah.
There's no CGI involved. This is actual stock footage. So Stallone had a good idea. He really did have a good idea for this movie. But again, like I said, he let his worst impulses take over. And
Or you think it might have been the studio telling him, like...
No, I think he just wanted to make as much money as he could. I think he wanted to respect the franchise and make something more in the vein of Rocky 3. And he just ultimately decided, no, I'm gonna just go all out. And also too, there was a much James Brown is still in it, performing Coming to America, but it's so much more abbreviated. Yeah, and it's amazing the difference that can make on a movie. Just to abbreviate certain things can take it from a 2-star movie, which I've always considered Rocky IV to be a 2-star movie, and the director's cut might very well be a 3-star movie. It's pretty close. I mean, leaning toward 2.5 stars, and I haven't even come up with my grade yet, but I have actually.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'll just say I'll give it a B.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it would be more of like a B- for me, but we're working with hard numbers here, so.
Established letters, yes.
Yeah, we're not on Sesame Street right now. So.
But yeah, I think just you said it all beautifully. Not much to add to Rocky IV the remake or Rocky v Drago. Besides, I think they got it right this time. That's how you do a remake, or if you got to do it 35, however many years later, this is how you do it. As far as like, well, this is what I wanted to do, kinda. This is what I meant to do. Here it is, finally. You're still alive to see it. You can tell your grandpa in heaven when you meet each other, like this is the one I meant for him to go out on, because I'm sure somebody died, like with the bad Rocky IV.
Oh yeah,
as a final memory in theaters.
And they're like, that's the thing. Like he had the good idea. Yeah. If he didn't have the good idea, it wouldn't be there. There's no Rocky V director's cut because it was just all bad. Yeah, he never had a good idea. It was just Rocky V is just a really bad movie. But Rocky IV, that was always there. It was always clawing at him. Yeah. And it's like, he,
which is commendable. To have to redo it all over again, too.
Extremely commendable, because he didn't need to do it. No. And I think he mentioned in the interview that was live that the studio was pretty mad at them for being like, why are we putting this money into this or whatever? But they let him do it.
You know, that's crazy, because even if it is so much after the fact, the first one came out, like, it's Stallone, he's been established, he's been a household name with a killer franchise that anybody would kill for. Why not just throw, undisclosed amount of money, you want to do this, and pretty much throw us on rip the rug up.
This was the director's cut he was talking about.
Right. That's what I mean. But
yeah, but I don't know how they were going to make money back on the director's cut. I don't know if there was that much interest, but you slip it into the Rocky collections going forward, the Blu-rays, you put it on there, and it's marked improvement.
So you go with B then for the Rocky IV remake, the director's cut. I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
It's a soft B for me. How about yourself?
I definitely go B.
Okay.
I go firm B, definitely. I didn't hear no bell for that one. So Rocky 4, director's cut goes at B tier. All right.
And why don't we do something a little different?
Yeah, what's up?
With Rocky 4? So why don't we kick it off at the grade this time?
Okay,
So
sure.
you're gonna go. So you're gonna go C
Yes, sir.
on Rocky 4, and I agree 100%.
Okay, so you're also C.
Why don't we kick it off with that?
Mutual C.
Yeah,
All right, so
and then we'll talk a little bit on that.
yeah, definitely. So you want to start then on Rocky 4, the original one?
Yeah,
Were you
I
in
mean,
on
just kind of like I said, just excess of the highest level. It's just it's just not a good movie on any level. I mean, it's like an hour and 30 minutes. You know, it's just he gets, you know, it's a recap of the third one, and then you know, he gets home, and the kid who is like 4, who is going to be 13 in the next movie
Somehow.
you know, is like, oh, how'd you get that black eye? A friend, you know. Yeah, it's just not good. Apollo in the pool throwing tennis balls to his dogs. Yeah, it's just there's just not a lot I want to say about it. You know, I feel like obviously the soundtrack's great. The soundtrack is iconic.
There's no easy way out.
There's no easy way out. In the beating heart that's about to burst.
I hate to admit I love that though still.
No, but the soundtrack's good. I mean, Drago, you know, I you know, again, like, not to harp on the director's cut, but there is a little bit more of a performance from Dolph Lundgren as Drago in the director's cut. It also makes a lot more sense for Creed 2 works so much better with the director's cut because he's less of a robot. They just do a better job of humanizing him. The first one doesn't do that. He's a robot. We got Bridget Nielsen. We got the maniac manager, you know, whatever he hits, he destroys, you know. And then Bridget Nielsen, like, you think you are also very good, and we are also very, very bad. It's just all a mess.
Yeah, for me, Rocky 4 was, well, for me, it goes, obviously, Rocky 1, Rocky 2, I put, like, neck and neck as far as, like, the standard of the franchise. Rocky 3 is where it does visibly dip, but not too much.
Sure.
It slopes.
Enough.
It's fun still overall. I can't really complain about it like that, and we'll get to that, of course. But 4 is where it definitely drops off again, but now noticeably, like, okay.
Right. And I remember back in the day, I don't know, you know IMDb, right? Like Internet Movie Database. So I remember writing a review for the 4th one like 20 years ago.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. And I remember giving it a pretty lukewarm response. And I quoted, because in the first one, Apollo says, Apollo Creed versus the Italian Stallion. Sounds like a goddamn monster movie. And then the 4th movie literally is a monster movie. and it's like what he said came to fruition. And he gets killed in it.
Yeah.
He also doesn't hump the floor as much as he's dying in the director's cut. That's important. Because as a kid, I'm just kind of like, okay, I know he's dying, but why is he penetrating the floor of the ring?
I guess the canvas had the must that he liked. It appealed to him.
Well, he was always a coxman. He wasn't going to go out without, you know.
Like no punk.
No, he wasn't going out. Like, that was the only way.
Yeah, I mean, I know I brought this up with you too plenty of times, and hopefully out there too you agree, but I hate that logic of the Rocky verse where, you know, it's always leading first with the face, get beat up for like 13, 14, whatever many rounds, and then just come back out of nowhere. This is the epitome of that, but also at the expense of the OG original Rocky 4, really looking Apollo go out like an absolute chump at his demise. Because, what was it? I think Did they change that in the second one in the director's cut? Where I think this one was like a round and a half he lasted and dies, and maybe he lasted longer.
It's the same. He dies in the second round, but he keeps throwing punches.
Right.
In the first one, or the original Rocky IV, he's throwing jabs. He's whatever. He gets hit with a hard punch at the end of the round, and he is visibly shaken. He looks at his wife, and she just kind of does the. And he just like does the nod, and then he comes out in the second round, just gets pulverized. In the director's cut, he doesn't. He's hitting Drago with punches. Yeah. They're not doing anything because he's old and he's retired, but he's still fighting.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so the fact that they made him go out like a chump in the original Rocky IV is just terrible.
Because it makes you think. Then how was he such like a god pretty much in one, where, you know, as Rocky claimed, he wanted to go the distance and that was it. He was fine with that. Just to finally barely beat him by the count in Rocky 2. And then 2 movies later where he's still the same size, older, yes, but still same strength, been training, never stops training. He just drops dead so easily in 1.5 rounds compared to Rocky having to go the full fight practically.
Right, and beats
to
him.
finally topple the big bad Russian.
It's terrible.
And not to say Rocky ain't a Trump either, because then we wouldn't have a whole franchise. But then, you know, it doesn't add up.
Maybe Rocky should have died.
You think so?
That would have been amazing.
At the end of 4?
Yeah, just.
But then both of them dying. Imagine Apollo and Rock.
Yeah, in the same movie. And then there's no ending. He just goes down and it just goes to the credits.
And they both die in the same pair of trunks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't have a lot to add. I mean, like, obviously there's a whole montage and everything like that. Yeah. It's really bad. It's really bad.
At least the music salvages it too. The training montage.
It does. Yeah.
You know, there's no easy way out, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did you already say the grade for it? You did, right?
I think we agree. I don't think we moved it yet, but I think we both agreed on a C.
C for Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, there ain't too much as far as building a defense for it, but it isn't. I can't
go as low as D, even though Paulie's robot is actually in it. So it should kind of get that score.
It's still cheesy enough.
It's still fun enough. It made a lot of money. It made a lot of people happy. Mm-hmm. It's close. I mean, if you want to, you can definitely put it in the middle if you want. Somewhere between C and D.
I think that's fair. Yeah, let's do that then. Let's put Rocky 4 officially at like, what is it, D.5, I guess, D+.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, we'll stick it right there. D+ territory for Rocky 4.
There we go.
All right, Ryno. We're whittling down finally to the 3, the main 3, the main squeeze as far as the Rocky franchise is concerned. Again, this is the unofficial, our version of the Rocky movie tier list, including Creed 1, 2, and 3. We don't discriminate here at all. 10 in total so far, 7 down, 3 left as I mentioned. Now we're down to Rocky 3.
I'm gonna let you lead this one because I've always had mixed feelings about Rocky 3.
Okay.
I always feel like I have to collect myself a little bit, even though I know that Rocky 2 is your favorite.
Yes.
I can wax poetic on Rocky 2. Rocky 3 is always, I just want to hear your thoughts on it because I watched Rocky 3 not that long ago. I want to say like 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. And I had very conflicting feelings, so I'd like you to lead with that and see kind of how you feel about it.
Okay. So Rocky 3, like I mentioned before, for me is right after 2 is the noticeable but not terribly like deep slope decline in quality. Mm-hmm. It's still good. I wouldn't say too much bad about it in comparison to 4 or 5 or anything after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For me, it's a 1-2 punch as far as Mr. T is a bad guy, which it's corny, but it works. He's basically blamed Mr. T on the big screen.
Yeah.
On the A team, he didn't really change up that much like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, he wasn't winning an Oscar at any point, I think. But, you know.
No.
But also, with that came Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunderlips, in the movie, which was, you know, very pleasant. The whole backstory behind him even taking the role was, like, really, you know, something worth looking into. Basically, he got fired because he took the role.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon Sr., Vince McMahon Jr. brought him back in because he's like, you know, come on, he's a superstar. Why not?
Right. Yeah, I started watching the documentary, the Vince McMahon one.
Yeah, good watch.
Good watch. Yeah.
But yeah,
That'll be a separate episode.
definitely.
I don't think we want to get into Vince McMahon right now, but
Not
I
that
know
kind
what
of
you're
business.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really, I think, where they started to embellish on the fun of Rocky, how fun the whole universe could be, and where to take them.
Yeah.
Is it crazy to say it's probably the funniest one out of all of them?
No, not at all. I think it's 100% the funniest one. I think that it is kind of like the first half anyway is kind of like a half comedy. Paulie throwing the beer bottle at the Rocky arcade game is fantastic. Mm-hmm. That'll never get old.
Oh, right, the parking lot scene, right? The whole talk.
Right in the beginning, and he's like, "Hey, yo, like, you know what your problem is? You're just a jealous bum." And then it turns out that he's like, "You give me a job," and he's like, "Is that all you wanted?" And that's pretty much it. So it's funny. No, it is. It's pretty good. I mean, Mickey's death is tragic.
That too.
Yeah, and the way that they do it. Yeah.
Did it make sense the way Mickey went out?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was done really well, and I love that Rocky lies to him and tells him that he knocked him out.
Yeah.
And Mickey's like, I knew it. Yeah, like when he gets knocked out, it was silly to have like Clubber Lang kind of knock him over because that's like kind of murder. That's stupid. But again, only in the 80s that he's like, can I catch my breath? Can I catch my breath? And then like Talia Shire, like, sorry, we haven't even mentioned her, Adrian. Yeah. She's just like, oh no, so it's like, he's going to die. And he's like, can I catch my breath? And then like Rocky like gets his ass kicked. He looks like me right now with these two eyes, like a raccoon. And then he like shows back up and he's like, "Hey Mick, you okay?" And he's like, "How'd you do?" And he's like, just like you said, it was like a knockout, second round. I knew it. And then he just dies, like on the spot. Like, so, yeah. So I have mixed feelings on that. Mm-hmm. And then, but the movie as a whole works. The ending's great. The Norman Rockwell painting. I think it's Norman Rockwell, right? Like the guy. I think so. Yeah, just, like them going to the ghetto, Paulie being racist again, just really
no surprise.
Par for the cost for anything went in the 80s. Like
what did I ever
that's
do
the
to
beauty
them?
of it. What's that?
What do you say? Like, what do you have against these people? Like, what did I do to them?
What did I ever do to them? Yeah, it's like no. The 80s is just free for all. So I think Rocky 3 is if you have to pick like the top 5 movies of the 80s that really epitomize what it was like, I think that would be one of them.
Yeah.
It's kind of racist. It's not kind of racist. It's actually really racist. It's like on steroids. It's trying to be an indie film in some parts. It's just kind of a mess. But overall, like it. What's your grade on that?
For me, Rocky 3, because I enjoy it, and I think that's where he decided to just have fun and buy into the gimmick, as they say. I give it a B.
I agree 100%.
Okay, we agree.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add about that? Sorry, I kind of took it away there.
No. Please. Yeah. No, you wrapped it up beautifully again, with Rocky 3. Not much to say because it's a good one.
Yeah.
There's not really much bad to say about it, if there is anything.
Yeah.
Again, I was just surprised, honestly, by, Mr. T, like, actually working as the villain.
Yeah.
Because he really... Yeah.
But this was before A-Team, no?
Was it?
I think it might have been. I could be wrong.
Oh, you know what? I think maybe because I think
we're not going to look up our phones here. This is just, that would be cheating. So,
but I think it might have been when he just won like that strongman contest or something. He won like a tough guy contest.
Okay, gotcha.
And Stallone, he keeps tabs on those kind of guys, so like he knows who to pick.
Sure.
For these kind of roles. Okay.
Yeah.
He picked Hogan, so it was a good pick. Okay, yeah. I go with B. So, okay, so we got Rocky 3 at B. Okay, so drag that over here. We got another B one. Yeah. Rocky 2. I'll let you take that away while I just fix up the screen here. Please wax poetically on Rocky 2 for yourself.
Absolutely. I it's not my personal favorite. My personal favorite is the first one. But I will say, again, around the same time that I watched the third one a few months back, Rocky 2 is a fantastic movie. It is an indie film. The first one cost $1 million and made 220 for like a profit of 11,000%. The second one was not that far off. It cost $7 million, which obviously 7 times the original budget, but still made comparable money. It was the second highest grossing movie of the year, 1979. So huge profit. And the thing that made this so special is that it really plays into the indie. Kind of, the opposite of Rocky 3, where Stallone was kind of being like, oh, I see opportunity here as a film star to do this and that, and again, like, why Rocky 3 is the funniest one, but the second one was him kind of being like, I see an opportunity here to direct and be a real legitimate film auteur, and it kicks off with that amazing revisionist Bill Conti score, with the ambulance and everything like that. And honestly, it's really just a great movie from there on out. It's not perfect. We mentioned earlier the kids running after him. That's like a cardinal sin. Like, that was really bad.
So cringe, bro.
So cringe. But overall, I mean, just really, it's just, there's no fighting until the very end. I mean, it's not even till like the hour and 15-minute mark that Mickey's like, let's knock his block off. It's literally, you're watching, basically, it almost feels like watching a 1970s, like an episode of like a dramatic 1970s show. He's just, he gets laid off from the meat place. It's just, he's trying to get Mickey to take him back. And he's like, hey, you. He's like, oh, tell me when you see the finger. Oh, yeah, I see the little finger there. I see the little thing there. Tell me now. And he smacks him across the face. And he was like, what do you think the champion's gonna do? You hurt me bad. You're like, no, hurt you permanent. Hurt you permanent. Yeah, and it's just, and then like the scene where he's like running around with like the pails of like boxers like spit.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't do that. He's like, they look at you like God here. Like, it's just, it's a great character study.
Yeah.
And it's worth mentioning that he did write a novel. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah. No, Stallone wrote a novel. I'll find one and I'll buy it for you. And when's your birthday?
Come on, bro. September.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Happy belated, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll give you the Rocky 2 novel. It can't cost too much. But Stallone brought a novel from Stallone's, from Rocky's perspective. So, that's my take on it. There's a lot more to uncover there. I mean, I guess the weak point, strong points, him and Mickey praying in the chapel. Mickey, they're getting ready for the fight, but Mickey's not going to leave him. Adrian waking up from a coma, and instead of them giving her like intensive care and being like, we don't want you to die, she's just kind of like, go beat him. That's not good. But anyway, please take it away.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's my personal favorite out of all of them. I'm not saying the best one. I'd still say we'll get to it. Number one, of course, obviously, is the best one of them all. I love the emotional build-up throughout Rocky 2. Like you brought up, it's like an hour and change until we finally get a fight or some action. Significant enough.
And I forgot to mention the montage.
Yeah.
The montage is amazing.
The training montage,
amazing.
right?
The training montage
Yes.
is so amazing that they would back at the old Yankee Stadium in the late
really?
90s. They used to play it on the scoreboard when they were looking for a rally. They would play the Rocky 2 montage.
Now, you see, if, forgive me, I don't know much about baseball, but I would think that's compromising to hear that play. Like, you have to, like, perform.
Oh, yeah. Well, they starts playing the Bill Conti score, the ding, ding, and then just, it's great. It culminates in the little kids running after him,
Yeah.
But it's fine.
But the build up, that version, Rocky 2 specifically, I love that one the most.
Yeah.
That's the more iconic one, I guess, right? Which Rocky 1 is, but, Rocky 2 was
I think the montage of Rocky 2 is like the iconic montage. Yeah.
All right, and that's the one that sampled, we can't praise P. Diddy like that no more, but that was the one that was used on Victory. Remember?
Yes. Yeah.
Great use of the sample.
Great use of the sample.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
And, I mean, just to quote one line from that one, because, now it's like a red flag, I guess, early signs of Diddy's activities, don't make an ass out of yourself. When he's like talking up the shit right before Biggie comes in and murders it.
Yeah. Not good.
Something like play your position, don't make an ass out of yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a
great song.
It is a great song still.
Busta Rhymes is on that, right?
Yeah. But that's the real life shit.
Yeah, and he's like, in the video, he's on the ledge. Yeah, it's great.
Rapping in the rain.
Yeah. Godzilla soundtrack.
It was on there?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it's from.
What? No. That was like
No,
97.
that was the one that sampled
That's the one he redid, the
Zeppelin.
9 Inch Nails shit, yeah.
No, not 9 Inch Nails. It was
Zeppelin?
Zeppelin. Yeah.
Oh, Zeppelin. Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Right, Come With Me. Yeah.
Yeah, Come With Me. Yeah,
Which
sorry.
is terrible. Yeah.
I messed up. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, no one wants to remember that version of Godzilla anyway, so
No,
you're
that's
fine.
all right. Yeah.
I mean, Matthew Broderick wasn't, like, convincing.
No. Hank Azaria gave it a all, but,
He tried.
he did.
But yeah, back to Rocky 2, though. Yeah, Rocky 2, though, you said it beautifully earlier with everything that kind of like encompasses what comes with it. Again, I love the emotional compromise, the real like backstory to Rocky, post going the distance the first time around, the commercial read, which is still hilarious to me, but that guy was an ass, but then also you spent an entire day fucking up all the lines because of your dyslexia. Who wouldn't be mad?
Who wouldn't be mad?
Rightfully so. And
He wasted a lot of money.
he wastes a lot of money. And the guy said he only works with professionals too. He had to stress that.
Yeah.
So
And they went to the alternate set. They had to go to the alternate Tarzan set. So, smell meanly. Smell manly.
smell meanly.
Hey, yo, I gotta be like, let somebody talk to me this way in front of my wife. It's like, no, you were wrong. You wasted a lot of people's time. There are a lot of people.
Meanwhile, that was the same guy hunting him down like
Yeah.
rapidly to get him to even sign.
Yeah.
Got him, and then maybe you should have done like a pre-screening read, like can you read the Cat in the Hat at least, Rock?
Right. Yeah, there you go.
Some Floyd Mayweather shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember 50 Cent called him out for Floyd Mayweather when they had like a little beef, a little tiff. Like if you could read a page out of like a Cat in the Hat, I'll donate $1 million. Knowing he couldn't read.
That. Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. You could look it up. It's funny though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just to sum it up on Rocky 2, yeah. Obviously my personal favorite, can't stress that enough. Finally wins the big one, beating Apollo at the very end, just like, by inches, beating the count practically.
Again, great score, great slow motion use. Yeah.
Definitely. And again, the only knock against is, like you said, the kids at the end of the montage, but very, very hard to say anything else wrong about it other than that. I would have to place it for me at S tier. So, Yo Adrian, we did it, which is, of course, how we, caps off the movie Yo Adrian, we did it. Where do you grade it?
I'm going to grade it an A.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Respect.
House rules.
House rules. You take that one. So we put it A. When Rocky win, which is also from Rocky 2 anyway. So makes sense.
Yeah.
Hand in hand. And speaking of hand in hand, because you got to put two hands to good use to put up a good fight, as he did the first time around back when, it is now time for Rocky 1 as far as the tier list is concerned. My man Ryno, I don't mind you taking over, please. You're the one that put me onto the franchise like that to really respect it and love it like that. So please, Rocky 1. Wax poetically.
Rocky, it's one of the best movies ever made. That's really all there is to it. I feel like it's being experienced again by new generations. As I was growing up, and I became a teenager, in the early 2000s, and I just felt like a lot of the sequels did a lot of ill will to people's opinion of it, where they literally forgot that this did win Best Picture. Stallone was nominated. It's just kind of like, it's nice now that like you don't have to remind people as much. They know now, like, oh yeah, like Rocky, like, yeah, masterpiece, great.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's really nothing else to say about it. It's just profoundly great, just like fantastic movie. There's nothing else to say about it. It's basically a perfect movie. It's maybe subjectively my favorite movie of all time. Yeah.
Where would you, because I'm curious, genuinely, in your case, in your top 5 movies of all time, where would you place Rocky 1?
It might be number 1. It might actually be number 1.
Nice. You're not just saying it because the tier list today, conveniently enough, right?
No. Yeah.
Okay, I respect that.
I just don't know if there's a better movie. Burgess Meredith was fantastic. It just doesn't get any better.
Yeah, just like you love, obviously, Rocky 1 the most, and justifiably so, the one to recommend, like I'm sure if I ask out loud, hey, where do I start with Star Wars, you're going to tell me probably the first trilogy, start from there, best off. Yeah, how do you not say Rocky 1 to start off with? There are, the 3 creeds, the more modern take on things where it's just fine. There is 2, 3, and, depending on who you ask for. But 1 is really where you start, rightfully so.
Yeah, and when it starts with in the gym, he's fighting Spider Rico. He's making no money. They're taking money from him, here, for the locker and all that. And it's just, there's a reason it struck a chord with everybody. It's just the ultimate underdog story. Like there's really nothing like it.
Yeah. And also I know you know it well, but I love the whole backstory to Rocky 1 even being made in the first place. Him holding out on, I only get it made if I'm Rocky. It makes sense if I do it. It's my story. He held out. He really played his cards like that. It reminds me so much. I'm sure you also know as well, like the backstory for A Bronx Tale with Chaz Palminteri. His whole story behind it,
right?
Having that made.
I'm not giving it up. Like they're like turning down money. He had to sell his dog. Who's in the movie?
Butkus, right? Yeah.
Butkus, yeah. Yo, Butkus. He had to sell his dog at one point, and they offered him a lot of money. They wanted Ryan O'Neal to play the lead, and he would not budge. And then ultimately, they were just like, you know what? We're going to give you $1 million. You make this movie. You have 30 days. They filmed it in 30 days, $1 million.
Wow.
It made $225 million, I believe, worldwide. 11,000% profit. I was looking at that earlier. That was a little bit, yeah.
It was, if memory serves me correct, was Robert Redford up for it too, I think?
Oh, probably. I'm sure. Yeah.
And there was another big name too, I forget.
Maybe Burt Reynolds.
I think Burt Reynolds, right,
yeah.
right. I guess I got to ask you, since you know the franchise so well, obviously. the story as is, as we know it to be, Rocky 1, exactly how it's been presented to us, and as you remember it, does it work with anybody else not Stallone as Rocky?
The only actor I could think of who might have been able to pull it off, but also did another boxing movie, maybe Jeff Bridges. The only one that comes to mind. Right around the same age at the time, I want to say. Because I feel like him and Stallone are comparable ages. Yeah. Not that anybody ever
Contemporaries.
not that anybody ever considered Jeff Bridges for the role. But someone like that, it has to be somebody a little gritty.
Yeah.
That could do it. Robert Redford, Ryan O'Neal, absolutely not. No.
Nah.
Would have been played like a straight romance. I mean, that's the beauty of Rocky. It's he's a lone shark, You should have planned ahead, And then, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when the owner of the pet store calls him out for stealing turtle food. And she's like, oh, you stealing or whatever or something like that. And he's like, hey, you know crime don't pay. Crime don't pay. But then he walks out the door with the turtle food. He never pays for it. So it really is it's hard to imagine anybody really being able to do it the way that Stallone did it with the humor that he did it. I mean, I don't know why Jeff Bridges came to mind, but somebody of that sort, but I don't know if they would have been able to find the humor,
the charm
in the screenplay that Stallone gave off, because Stallone, he based it on himself.
Yeah.
So he really, there's really, I really don't think there was anyone else who could have played it as effectively.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard to place a name on anybody who might have been, let's say, too big to be convincing or too big to get behind like that. Let the underdog tail, I guess.
Yeah, I just don't think they would have been able to do the balance.
Too good looking, too, overacted.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was just the right pick.
Right.
But which some would think back when, hearing that story, like, oh, this guy's an asshole. He wrote this thing and he wants to do the thing himself. How dare he? Who's he to do it?
Right.
But he really pulled it out of his ass and really, knocked it out the park, I guess.
No, he did, yeah. And the rest is history.
It is.
Yeah.
And of course, thanks to that one, we got a whole franchise, a spin-off, and, we'll talk about it at the very end now. I have to get your feelings on it. The prequel series we're going to get from Amazon Prime, of all places, which, mind you, they still make you rent or buy the fucking Rocky movies. They don't even give it to you stream for free. But, we're not here to do free promos with Jeff Bezos. He's got enough money to count too much. Even after being divorced, still the richest guy on the planet, I think. So that's too many.
Well, Elon Musk is, but after him.
still Elon?
Yeah.
Oh, right. He's second. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry.
I think.
I should know my billionaires better, right?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
But Rocky 1, listen, I think we can both co-sign. Go watch the fucking thing if you haven't. You've had 50 years
and that's
almost.
I think we both agree that's an S.
Absolute S tier. It's the
S tier.
Yeah, it's the golden standard of the whole franchise. Absolutely. How dare we even consider giving it anything less than S tier? Yo, Adrian, we did it. So yeah, we did it, Rocky. We did it, Ryno.
We did it.
Finally
we did it, George.
10 movies down, all
That's
the Rockies. So I think you're okay with the list as is then, where it stands?
Love it. Yeah.
Okay. So we agree on it mutually.
Yeah.
And of course, House Rules is your place where we're doing it from. So of course, we favor your rulings. It's fair and just. I have nothing to say against it.
And they're pretty similar,
Yeah.
I mean, I know you would have given Creed and Rocky 2 S tier, but
I'm not
that's
mad
the only
at it, though.
difference.
I'm not mad
Yeah.
because you know what? I guess I was probably just overexcited about those so much. But thinking back on it, I think where they land is fair. It's appropriate enough.
But to get back to what you were saying about the prequel, no, I don't want that at all.
You don't want that at all?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. I just don't understand,
Because
the whole point of Rocky is that he's been down and out so long. I mean, he's looking at his picture in the beginning and, just kind of like wondering, where he went wrong. So I don't know what a prequel series would do other than just be really depressing.
Yeah,
which I can get behind, but I just don't know the entertainment value behind that.
Yeah, because my whole thing with it is a question better yet said because of this synopsis I got from, doing some research. And if you remember from the Rocky IV director's cut premiere, live pre-interview, whatever, he did say, yeah, we're working on it pretty much. That was the first time it was announced. But the quote, the prequel will focus on a younger Rocky Balboa, Adrian, and Paulie. Stallone has described the story as taking place in the 1960s before Rocky became a champion. It will follow Rocky as a 17-year-old who is struggling to find direction in life. So that right there is kind of confusing. Timeline-wise, it does make sense for the time. But how's it going to follow Rocky, Adrian, and Paulie if supposedly Rocky didn't meet Adrian until Rocky won, right? And Paulie.
Well, no, I mean he's known Adrian for a while,
but
she just doesn't talk to him, and he wants to know. So I don't understand what the point is.
And is she?
I mean, Paulie will just be his alcoholic friend, and and so forth.
And is Adrian interesting enough before Rocky comes into the scene to even follow like that, or?
No, I don't think so.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense.
So that's one thing.
It's a non-starter for me.
Also, 17-year-old Rocky Balboa, we never really get Rocky's age alluded to in any of them.
No, I think he's 30 in the first one.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, so I stand corrected. So
I think.
I'm gonna believe you. Yeah.
Yeah, but, I think he's like, hey, yo, I'm 30 myself. Yeah.
I think you're right. Actually, I think you're right. But let's just go with 30. From 17, 13-year difference. Rocky, 13 years before we get to know Rocky 1 and that whole story and where everything takes off from there. Do we finally get an explanation as to why he favors, leather, everything possible on this person? The leather handball, the
and then like the hat. Yeah, I mean, like that would be the only interesting thing. I don't, Paulie will be his buddy. But I don't really know where Adrian fits in there. It just doesn't seem like it'd be a very interesting show. I mean, if you really wanted to go like, I haven't seen The Penguin yet. I heard it's amazing.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to go that route, then make a show about the loan shark.
Oh,
Gazzo.
Yeah.
Make a show about Gazzo. And then that would be good. That would be great.
And Rocky happens to be there. He drops.
And Rocky's his low. Yeah, he works for him. He works for him, and then you realize like, oh shit! Like in Rocky 1, he's been working for Gazzo for 13 years. You don't think I hear things? It would have a lot more levity. And then also if he keeps like pursuing Adrian, and Adrian's like, get away from me. That will add, levity's not the right word, just a lot more meaning.
I'm scared to think if they give Adrian a backstory nowadays, even though knowing Stallone, he might not bite into that, they might give Adrian too much of a backbone if we're telling it from nowadays perspective with like, girls club, trying to empower women like that.
Yeah.
Not saying it's wrong with that, but,
No, but it would change the trajectory, yeah.
Yeah. Where she's going to get as loud as she got like in Rocky IV.
Yeah, we don't need that.
No.
And that wouldn't be her. So, but yeah, I'm going hard pass on the prequel.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch it when it comes out. I mean, but...
If it comes out. Is it a done deal?
I think it's in pre-production last I read.
Okay.
So it's in the very early phases.
Okay.
But then again, as I'm sure you read too with... the Blade retelling.
Yeah, it just keeps getting pushed back. And
indefinitely
all that.
now, supposedly. Who knows, if anything. So, who knows? Here and there, who knows? I mean, there's a Street Fighter fucking movie again in 2026. Already casted and might be in production already.
Right.
So, we might get that. Maybe the same year of, we get the Rocky prequel series, and we'll be able to judge it by then. It'll be 50 years since... You know what? They might be timing it 50 years since Rocky 1 for it to come out.
Right.
So who knows? But yeah, that's it for Rocky today. We did so much. We went in depth. Every single
We did a lot.
Every entry. We talked about the prequel, which we do and maybe don't want. But either way, though, Ryno, I cannot stress how much I have to thank you for your presence, for your gracefulness today of having me here.
I cannot thank you enough for coming over.
Casa de Kio.
Just really, yeah, I had a wonderful time just, revisiting this franchise. And, we've seen a few of them together now. I mean, we didn't see Creed together, but we saw 2, 3 in the director's cut.
Yes, sir.
And not in that order.
Not in that order.
Not in that order. So, it's something very near and dear to our hearts.
Oh, yeah.
And, I'm really looking forward to the final cut of this.
Oh, let's not forget rest in peace to Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers, yeah. That's right. Burgess Meredith.
Right.
And Paulie Bird. I always forget his name, too.
Yeah. But rest in peace, Paulie.
Yeah.
No offense.
No.
Yo, it's over. All right, it's over. It's over. Move the mic. Move the mic.
Thank you.
All right.